This computer. Okay, there you go. Hey guys, and welcome to our team call for May 2nd. So this is actually a joint team call. I usually have my Luminous Nation team calls on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. And I came back scrambling from Punta Cana. Like, wait a second, I haven't set a topic yet for Tuesday. So I hit up Micki and Saudi, and I was like, and I'm for those of you that don't know who they are, because this team has just gotten huge, which is another reason why I wanted them on the call. I thought to myself, you know what? It takes so much vision to do what they've done. Like, most of us are here trying to build a team, trying to get to Emerald, trying to get to Ruby, trying to get to Diamonds. And then here they are, that they've created this huge, huge team from scratch. And I'll let them get more into the specifics about how they founded Team Eagle, which we are all under. And it just got me to think, like, that's the name of this call tonight. It's the compound effect, how the vision of one person affects thousands. And that's a big deal, guys. So it doesn't matter where you are in your organization, how many people are on your team. If you guys are out there planting seeds, it's like God says in the book of Genesis, like, he's going to make your descendants as numerous as like the sands and the stars in the sky. And it's a beautiful thing. So I wanted this to be a conversation. So usually I ask the people I invite on the calls, so can you tell me about, what are your accolades so I can announce you? But I want each of them to tell their story. And that's what we're going to do tonight. But before we get started, there's some important news. May 13th, we have Craig from Beachbody Corporate coming over to New York City to do a live training. Guys, it's very important to be there. The event page has been put up already. I've posted it in Luminous Nation. I know it's up in Team Eagle. Make sure that you go to that. Ask your sponsoring coach for the info on that. I know it's a Saturday, and all these Saturdays are going to be crazy. A lot of us are going to Philly this Saturday. But you have to invest in your business, guys. You have to put skin in the game. So make sure you are there. And with that said, I will hand it over to Micki and Saudi. So tell me, girls, like, how did this start?
Okay. So as you know, first of all, thank you so much, Audrey, for inviting us to be on your team call. It's always an honor to always go back to our roots and always remember where it all started. And I know Saudi and I were talking and working on the different points that we wanted to talk to about tonight, but there's one thing I did not mention to Saudi, and I'm going to throw a little curveball in here, because when you talk about what it all started with a vision. This is how it all started, and this was before I even became a Beachbody coach. And it was a Sunday, and I held an event in my home right here in my living room, and I knew that somehow I wanted to marry both of my passions together. And both of my passions are my faith and my fitness. And I knew that you can't do one without the other. And so that's where it started. So I invited, it's crazy because I almost had like a shake and share without the shake in my home. And I invited about 10 to 15 women to come into my home to start something that I had no idea what it was going to be all about. All I knew is that I wanted to share my testimony, and I wanted to share about my faith, and I wanted to share about my fitness. And I knew that this was something big was going to come out of this. So it started all in my living room. That's where it all started. And then, shortly after that is when, actually, no, I was already a Beachbody coach, except I didn't know really what a Beachbody coach was. Mm-hmm. All I knew is that I was a coach who loved the discount and I loved to work out. And so sometimes we're always looking for an answer, and the answer is right under our nose. So I'm also a firm believer that when you have a vision, when a vision has been put in your heart, and when it's a godly vision, it's so big that you can't carry on the mission by yourself. You can't do it by yourself. So what he does is he puts the right people in your path. That's what he does. And he starts handpicking people to bring them together. And I've always said that Saudi has been a blessing from above, because I know she was handpicked to join forces with me and starting this crazy thing about living a healthy lifestyle and bringing others along the path with us. And so that's how this vision came to me. And so my brother was the one who started with P90X, by the way. Okay, so that was the next step. And I was watching actually an infomercial, and I was a gym rat during that time. My brother had no time to work out. And because he had no time to work out, I called him up. I'm like, yo, bro, listen, there's this thing called P90X. I'm watching an infomercial, and you need to do it because you don't have time to get to the gym. So, you know, get moving with this. And he's like, well, are you going to do it with me? I'm like, no, not me, because I don't work out at home. I only go to the gym, but you need to do it. And so my brother's very, you know, very obedient young brother, and he does everything his older sister tells him to do. And so he did. And he did P90X, and he transformed his life right before my eyes. While I was being a sucker paying $160 at Equinox, my brother, you know, only invested whatever P90X cost at that time. And literally in 90 days, he dropped 60 pounds, got taken off cholesterol medication, was no longer borderline diabetic, and I became a believer. I became a believer because I saw a transformation right in front of my eyes. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And that's, you know, so then it was my brother and I, then my sister came in, and through my sister, and, you know, and I'll turn it over to Saudi, because that's how Saudi came in into our lives.
What's crazy though is that, you know, every time you share that, I get chills in my body, because my brother and Tony have been best friends since I can remember. And so I always had Tony as a friend on Facebook. And I remember, you know, being in Florida and being at the highest weight that I've ever been in my life, after I had Jeremy. And my brother shared with me all that Micki's sharing about Tony when he had gotten, you know, sick and with the cholesterol, and how he had a scare and had to really lose weight. And I followed Tony's journey. And what's really crazy about the whole thing is that my husband ordered P90X back then, and I laughed at him. And, you know, I'm forever sorry for being that wife, you know, who would hear him jumping up and down in the second floor and, you know, just waiting for him to quit. Mind you, I had inspired him to see Tony's transformation, and which is why he ordered it. Could you believe that? And my brother never really like took Tony serious when it came to signing up as a coach. And so years passed, and I followed Tony's journey. And it wasn't until one day where Edith did not give up on us. It's crazy how God does put certain people in your path, and how you should always revisit them. And you shouldn't give up on them, because it wasn't Tony who reached out to my brother that second or third or fourth time. I don't know how many times they reached out to him, but it was Edith. And she did it in a way where she knew she would get through to us. And it was through my brother's wife. And I'll never forget going to their house and being inspired by this shake and how they were describing this shake. And it was like hearing Edith, because my sister-in-law was sharing with me all the things that I struggled with, which I struggled with insomnia at the time, and I still struggle with it sometimes. And going to the bathroom was a big issue. And obviously my weight, I was 100 pounds overweight. And so those are the three things that stayed in my mind that evening when they introduced this thing to me, you know. And after that, I went home and Googled Beachbody scam and thought that it was a total scam, but I was still gravitating to Tony. And through looking at Tony's pictures, I saw two things. I saw Belsie in her bachelorette party, where she looked amazing. And that's why it's so important to share on social media your journey, your transformation in every which way you can. And I knew of Belsie from years ago. And so seeing her lose weight was something I gravitated to. And I also saw Micki and Tony at an event where Micki was wearing this yellow dress. I had no idea that Tony had a sister. I was like, wait a minute, why is Tony with this other girl? Hold up. And then I got nosy and I started looking and looking and looking. That's where I saw Tony Horton. And I really like started to see that this was a thing. And I wanted to be part of that thing. And fast forward to when I signed up, and a lot of you already know the story. I wanted to share that because Micki just brought it up. And so what I wanna say is that the little things you sprinkle on social media go such a long way. Because I knew I wanted to be part of something, right? So as I'm Googling this Beachbody scam and, I'm watching this webinar that Edith sent to me, I said, this is different. I said to myself, this is what I need. I didn't even know what I needed, but when I found it, I was like, this is what I need because this is different. This is like, you get paid to lose weight. And, with my hustler mentality and my work ethic, I knew that this would be the thing, And so at the time I was living paycheck to paycheck. I, was the biggest quitter and overweight in my whole life. So for me, this was like the thing that I was waiting for. Right. And fast forward to now, I've lost 100 pounds. I've built an incredible empire with Micki. We have an incredible team, which is what we're going to dive into today. Because I think you guys really need to hear like how this all went about. And I just love the fact that Audrey notices these little things. Like, I don't know that she knew that Micki and I are actually going to be talking on this topic in La Cumbre about being a CEO in your business. And, I felt like this came at the perfect time, Audrey. So thank you for inviting us tonight. And I feel like everybody on the team needs to kind of really know how we did this, because we have such huge goals and we really can't do it without all of you, everybody here tonight. And so, Audrey, let's kick it off and let's dive right into this thing.
Well, I know because we chatted a little bit about what we were going to talk about tonight, but I remember when I started as a coach, I was doing it at the time. Like, I was 1 month into my challenge group. I had lost weight. I needed a weight. And like Micki said, God puts these things in our path. And I kept asking, I was thinking of selling things on Etsy. And then this coaching opportunity fell in my lap at the time when my husband lost his job and I needed to provide for my family. But I remember my sponsoring coach was like, there's this woman named Saudi that she left her career in education to do this. And she's making like, almost 6 figures already. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, okay, I guess I can do this. And even my first month as a coach, I won the Success Club trip at that time. At that time, they used to give the Success Club trip as a gift to the coach that got the most Success Club points for the month. And I won that in Beachbody. And then Micki Fernandez is calling me and I'm like, what does she want? Who are these women and why are they contacting me? So I have to show my appreciation to both of you from the beginning, supporting me in my coaching journey. So yeah, let's get into it. What does it take? Because, you girls described family and friends, and that describes most of our organizations. I know with the Success Club trip now, my coach Heather, one of her coaches, they posted like, here are all the diamond coaches in the organization, and here are all the emerald coaches. And it was pictures of the husbands, because that's how we all start out, right? Family and friends. So how
it's funny you say that. So before we, I just gotta point out, when you joined Micki and I, we were at a point where we really needed women like you, and so there was no hesitation when it came to really finding out more about you. And so you and Melissa and Dalisa are a huge value, because it's almost as if it was in a moment where Micki and I had these huge dreams and these huge goals, and we were making things happen for ourselves, but not everybody was jumping on board with the same mindset, right? They were kind of like doing the thing, but they weren't fully committed to doing the thing the way you and Meli and Dalisa did in the beginning, where you guys were very teachable. You came in, you read the books, you followed the 4-week training that we were doing at the time, and you just made it happen. And so I always give you the utmost respect, because it's almost as if you guys were, how when people say, maybe this is a pyramid scheme, I feel like you broke that. You broke the chains and you really paved the way for everybody else who's come on board after you and has joined us in building this empire.
I mean, I'm grateful for this opportunity. And honestly, I saw it like ministry. I never even thought I'm getting into a network marketing opportunity. I saw this as an extension of the work that I was doing with people and bringing them to God. And I remember that when you girls first invited me to speak on the team call, that's what I spoke about.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I always reflect back again, and I take a look at all the coaches in our network. I take a look at you, Audrey, as one of our amazing leaders, and I go back to the vision that was put in my heart about the leaders that were going to be brought into this team to grow this team. And this is an amazing platform where each and every one of us can use our God-given talents, because we all have a talent. Some of us have chosen to open up that gift because we have that gift all inside of us. And Beachbody is simply a tool that has been given to us, whether it's a ministry you have or whatever passion it is that you have, but it's the tool to make it happen. So every day, I'm always in a gratitude state of mind when I take a look at the growth of this team, when I take a look at the leaders that are in the team, the leaders that are emerging right now, because there's a lot of leaders. There's some silent ones that are out there right now, but I know you guys, are growing. But to go back on, how did this all started? And it's events. That's where it all started. And I still remember our first Super Saturday. Our first Super Saturday, we had an amazing 12 people there. We had 12 people at our first Super Saturday, and it was hosted at one of Saudi's coaches, Christine, in the Bronx.
Yeah, in the basement, in her basement. And you were hosting here in New York, and I was hosting in my living room with probably maybe like same amount of people, which was crazy.
I mean, and what's crazy to me is that like some of us are scared to do things like this. And then here are the two of you with nobody telling you this is what you do.
Sorry.
You just took matters into your own hands and you're like, okay, so let's hold an event.
Yep.
That was it, and that's why events are so crucial to attend. I know that we all have busy lives, but the beauty about these events is that we give dates ahead of time so that you can make plans to make it to these events. They don't happen every weekend, but that's how this team grew. This team grew from events. Super Saturday, our first Fit Club was November 2011. I will never forget that Fit Club, and I don't forget it because I wasn't here, and I missed it. And I went to visit my sisters down in Orlando, and I was in tears because I think Saudi was posting videos, and it was hosted by Saudi and Ivy Morales in a little hole in the wall in Corona that held. It probably could only hold maybe 10 people, and they were able to fit in how many, Saudi?
Illegally, like 60 people. It was crazy. And, I trooped it with my little screen because Caesar and I were doing these little fit clubs in our kids' Kung Fu school, and we saw what it was doing. And so Ivy was in Virginia at the time, and she has always been fascinated by fitness. She's like, Saudi, we need to do that in New York. And I was like, oh my God, we should. And so we did, and it was incredible, the feeling of having our friends and family and the team sharing their success stories. It's like it was the what broke the ground, I say, for Team Eagle, in our hood, in our backyard in Corona. I'll never forget that day. And a lot of the coaches that were there are some of our founding coaches, are some of the leaders in our organization today. And when we look back at that, I'm like, wow, had we not been, bold enough to just get on a plane, troop it with, the projectile. Let me tell you, we had everything that can go wrong in a fit club happen. Our audio didn't work. We didn't have the right cables. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. And we ended up having to have a live insanity workout where Tony and Hector and a few other coaches just led the thing. And it was probably the best event we've ever had.
And did it matter that it wasn't perfect?
It did not. It did not. And that's what Team Eagle is not perfect. We are so far from perfect, and it makes a lot of sense. It's crazy you brought that up. It's bringing back a lot of memories.
Well, and it actually feels I feel like today's a throwback Thursday. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's just bringing back really our humble beginnings and always remember where it all started and never forgetting how it all started. And most importantly, you know, I know we probably have a lot of newer coaches in here. And, you know, a lot of newer coaches are coming into our team, and you're coming into an established team. And you're seeing a lot of successful, you know, coaches. And the one thing that I do always love to share is that don't compare your chapter 1 with somebody's chapter 20, because we all had a chapter 1. We all had a starting point. And I love going back to that starting point. I love to go back to that starting point, you know. And speaking of starting point, you know, I'll talk about another event, because again, I can't stress the importance of events, because that's what blew this team up. And there's still much more work for us to do. But the next event that we had was it was a Super Saturday also, another Super Saturday, and we had it at PS19 in Corona, which happens to be the school, my first school that I attended as a kid. I actually went to kindergarten in that school. So to be in that school, and I have to share this story. Audrey, I don't think you know this story. But I have to share this story because it's just ironic.
I need 1 second.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. It's just ironic, the fact that PS19 was the first school that I attended. I went to kindergarten there. I went to a bilingual class because I only spoke Spanish when I was 6, and I didn't understand not one word of English. And I was, you know, the heavy kid in class. Probably today I would have been considered an obese child. And I still remember kids making fun of me because I was the heavy kid. In our school picture, I took up two spaces because that's how big I was. I didn't understand, so I was heavy, I didn't understand the language, kids made fun of me, and here we are doing a Super Saturday talking about health and fitness. And so it brought me a flashback, you know, to think that, you know, years ago, I was a heavy kid in that school that I was being made fun of. And here I am, part of Team Eagle, promoting health and fitness to make a difference in people's lives. You know, I'll just never forget that moment. But during that time, that's when, what was his name again, Sally? Jeremy Red. We had corporate representation there. It was the first time, I would think it was his first time coming to New York, and he was really impressed. I think we had 60 people, so now we were growing. We had 60 people at the Super Saturday, and he was so impressed that he actually got on the phone or text Carl Deichler while he was there.
Yeah, I was sitting next to him, and he was like, you just can't fake it. It wasn't like a corporate thing. He was completely fascinated by what he saw, because he saw something special. And I think that was the moment that we earned corporate's
respect,
sweet spot. Like, because I know that New York City has a sweet spot that's not fake. And it comes from those stories. They have a very deep connection with the stories that they've heard over the years. And it was Carlos Macias and Micki's coach, Micki, who was it? One of your coaches that went up as George Badim. And I'll just never forget, like, he said, this needs to be featured. Everybody needs to know about this. You guys need to make another event. Like, he was just so excited and happy after that day.
Now, I need to interrupt because, again, we did some background talk before we planned this call. There's a reason why they were so impressed that you guys were able to do this in New York. What's that reason?
Well,
oh, boy.
Okay, so here's the gig. Here's the thing, guys. New York City was viewed as the market in all of Team Beachbody that just was not growing.
They couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it. As a matter of fact, I must share that in 2009, that's when Insanity was released. And during that time, Jimmy Hay Nelson's, and you guys might have heard of him. He's a 15-star diamond coach. He's a leader in Team Beachbody. And he's also one of the cast members of Insanity. And he was hosting an Insanity event with Sean. And my brother and I were crazy enough to go. And he was living in New York City. And he couldn't take off in his Beachbody business in New York. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, he said it wasn't going to happen. He left. And it's crazy how a few years later he reached out to me and Micki and was like, how the heck did you guys do it?
I still remember, Saudi, in the leadership retreat. And I believe Audrey was already there at that retreat, the one in Arizona.
Yes.
Where we were at hanging at the pool, and he came up to me. He pulled me to the side. He goes, I need to understand. What did you guys do? He goes, I couldn't make it work in New York.
Yeah, and it's crazy how that is the one thing that brought out the competitive side in Micki and I. Micki and I have a very, very Ruby competitive side when it comes to our community and our culture. And we had no doubt in our mind. There was not 1 ounce of doubt that we could make put New York City on the map. And we were challenged. And after that 60 people event, and mind you guys, Jeremy didn't work with baby coaches like us. At that time, he was only working, I believe, with like 5 stars, and then he moved up to 10 and then 15 star.
You guys had something to prove.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he stayed working with us because he saw something big. And so he challenged us to do an event. And so Micki and I have always been the type, and I didn't even think about this until you picked my brain. You're good at that. And so he challenged us to fill up a room with 1,000 people. Whoa. And we took it to a whole other level. We went a whole other route. We were like, no, we're going to do that. Plus we're going to hit 5-star diamond. Plus we're going to do this. And plus we're going to do that. And we did, and I think that's where the numbers came from. I believe, Audrey, you were on a panel at that first event, you and George and a couple of other coaches,
right?
Because we just never want to do things alone. Like Micki and I we're very selfless. And so when we set these crazy, huge goals for us, we bring the whole team with us. And so we were shooting for that at that time, but already setting the stage for you and George and the other people that were on that panel. And it played out just like that.
It's amazing. I remember that. I can't believe it was a couple of years ago already.
Yeah.
It felt like yesterday.
And I remember at that Super Saturday that we challenged everyone in there to double up the numbers to bring Carl to New York City. Carl had never, ever come to an event in New York City. And
so I think it was 500 and then 1,000.
Yeah,
right?
It was. And he challenged us to bring Carl. And so when somebody challenges me to do something, it's on and popping.
Yep.
I'm not going to stop, and what a blessing to have hustlers that are, like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's run with this. And we couldn't have done it without you guys, for taking the challenge, for saying yes, and getting that room. Like, that's crazy because we got Carl to come to New York, and that we set the tone. New York City set the tone for Super Saturdays.
Mm-hmm. We were the first team in the network. We were the first region, the first state, the first Super Saturday in the network to fill up a room with 1,000 people, and it became this trend.
I have to correct.
It was over.
It was 1,200.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing. And it set the tone. It kind of created some craziness, some crazy competition that we were not that proud of. But it created some crazy competition where we just don't even compete anymore, because I don't like that part. Like, I love community. I love culture. I love all that. I'm a Ruby. I'm very competitive. But when it gets when it's to jab at people and to hurt people, I don't like it. And then that's when we're not even into that anymore. Like, if we have an event and it's 500 souls that are in it to win it, I prefer that over 2,000 people. But that event made us strong, right? That event showed that we were different, and it brought out team culture, it brought out strength. But most importantly, Micki and I stayed together, you know, and a lot of times when you grow that fast, right? Because Micki was growing, I was growing. Everybody wanted to be a piece of New York. Even Christine Dwyer came and showed up to our event. We stayed humble. We stayed connected. We stayed united. We're together in when we rise, and we're together when we're at our low. And I think this is a great moment to present this type of a call, because we have crazy big goals, and Audrey knows that we can't do it without everybody on Team Eagle. You know, we need you guys, and you know, we want to continue growing this region, and it's those numbers that they look at. You know, they may have us in their hearts, and they may have a sweet spot for New York City, but we have to prove it, and we have to continue to renew and rise. And that's why we keep doing these events, because we can't do it alone. We need each and every one of you that are on this call tonight.
So what I'm hearing is that you girls saw an amazing transformation within your own families, and that inspired you to build your business, but based on faith, based on fun, based on family, based on fitness, based on just your culture, and doing things together and having that bond, being united and working towards a common cause. Now, what I want to know is, do you girls feel like you've made it? Why or why not?
Absolutely not.
No, I feel so far from.
I feel like a failure. Absolutely. Because I feel like 10,000 is playing small.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right here because, you know, so many times coaches come to me that have a couple of months in the business, or even like 1 or 2 years in the business, and they're comparing themselves, and they see failure as that's the end of the road and it's not going to work out for me. And we have Micki and Saudi, who aren't only top coaches in New York, but in the network. Like everywhere I go, who's your upline coach? I'm part of Team Eagle, Micki and Saudi. And everyone's like, yeah, I know who they are. And here they are saying that they feel far from reaching their goals. And Saudi just said she feels like a failure.
Absolutely, because numbers don't lie. And Micki and I, as you know, as community and family oriented as we may be, we do look at the numbers. And so today, her and I broke it down, and it was like, but see, we take failure differently than most people. And so failure motivates me. Like I can kick myself in the butt for like 2 minutes, and then let's be like, okay, what are we gonna do? Let's make this happen, you know?
And let me just go a little bit deeper into this. I look so clearly, I look numbers, right? Numbers don't lie. Mama
Duke.
He don't care. He's Mama Duke. Sorry, guys. It's my life. She's my life. But here's the thing. When somebody asks me, you know, how do you define success? I personally feel success when I see my coaches, when I see my team achieve their goals. When I see my coaches, my team living a life fulfilled in 4 areas of their life: physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. Those are the 4 areas. If people that I speak to are not fulfilled in those 4 areas, then I'm not successful. I don't feel fulfilled. Because for me, being part of Team Eagle, being one of the founders of this team, means that there's a much deeper purpose, guys, than just a physical transformation. It's about everybody breaking whatever bondage, whatever's holding you down in your life. Because everyone that has come into this team, you've come to this team because you're broken in one of those 4 areas of your life.
We all have the same mission. We all are on the same mission.
So not until I don't see, and especially when I take a look at, you know, because I love the entire team. I totally love, and, you know, I know Al is on here, and Al said one time, he goes, Micki, you know, all this time I felt like special, because, you know, you keep saying like, you were chosen for this team, you know, you were chosen for this group. Yes, every single one of you were. That's why you're here. But we've got to stop with the limited beliefs. because that's what's happening. It's limited beliefs that have stopped it. We've put a lid on our growth.
Yeah.
And so until we don't keep growing that, I don't feel successful. I don't feel successful seeing coaches struggling financially. I don't feel successful when I see coaches struggling with their health and their fitness, because what you see in the outside is a manifestation of what's happening in the inside. You're broken inside. And when you're broken inside, you can see it in your outside, people.
Amen.
And that's why a lot of our coaches feel like this doesn't work for them, because if you're not working on those 4 areas of your life, how are you going to renew and strengthen? How are you going to attract the people that you need in your life to continue building this community? You know, I always remember that first call that Micki made me get on with Team Eagle, and
I made her get on.
You did the first call, and I said I would do this for free because I can't do it alone. I can't sustain a 100-pound weight loss by myself without this community, without this culture. And a lot of us, you know, go sit on the sidelines and think it isn't for us because we're not willing to commit to those 4 things. You know, we're not willing to change those 4 things. It's not fear. It's not all this bullshit that people feed themselves. It's that. I mean, you nailed it with that. And that's why, you know, the mission statement for this team, for those that don't know it, is renew our strengths. If you wake up every single morning with that on your mind, everything else is going to work out for you. Nothing is going to seem unattainable or unreachable if you stay true to that.
Let's dig in a little deeper. Micki, why is this called Team Eagle?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's and it goes directly with our mission statement. And it took me a while because when I named this team, okay, and you know, I don't force my belief system on anyone, but the truth of the matter is that when I named this team, I wanted to make sure that I was going to honor my God. Hands down, that's the reason this team has its name. And so I prayed on it, and I was, you know, looking at all different names, and it was like, nope, don't feel peace with it. Until one day I got a piece of mail. And when I opened it up, it had a sticker, and it had 2 wings on it. And the brick hit me over the head. And, you know, the scripture was Isaiah 40:31, you know, those who renew their strength, those who hope in the Lord shall renew their strength. And, you know, I started jumping up and down like a kid. Like, I just felt such joy. I can't even explain it to you. And I called my sister. I'm like, Edith, that's it. It's Team Eagle. This is the name of the team. And when I start looking even deeper as time went on, I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, every single eagle, I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your belief system is. Every eagle that has come to this team has come because they have been broken in those 4 areas. You're either broken physically, financially, spiritually, emotionally, and you want to be part of something bigger. Everybody wants to belong. We were created to be in community. We weren't created to be alone. You know, so I was on a team call last night, and I shared 2 things, and I'm going to share on tonight's call. That's okay. 2 things that I learned at my first ever Beachbody event. Well, actually, it was not a Beachbody event, although there were all Beachbody coaches there. But it was an event with Tony Horton. Tony Horton used to have these boot camps. And Tony Horton shared 2 things that stayed with me. And the first thing he said was, there was about 200 people there. And he said, I want everyone here, anyone here in the crowd, do you guys have like that friend that's just toxic in your life? Like, they have nothing good to say. Everything's just negative. I want you guys to raise your hand. Does anybody have that person in your life? And everyone raised their hands. Not one person had their hand out. Although I do remember, and you know, he did call out somebody and call them a liar. He goes, come on now, you know you've got that person. Raise your hand. And he goes, I want you to say goodbye, sayonara, say goodbye to them. Because if this person is not in your life to build you up, to edify you, they need to go. Because unless they're your family, you're just stuck with them, sorry. But if it's just someone that's just not related to you, that you're not going to see at a wedding or a funeral, you need to say goodbye. And then you need to look around the room and say hello to your new 200 friends. You just made 200 friends today.
That's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget that. Like, that's the one thing I took away. The second thing he shared and that I took away, he said, face your fears. Face your fears. Unless that fear is going to put you 6 feet under, you face it dead on. You look at it straight in the eye. You confront it, you attack it, you overcome it.
You gotta love Tony.
I love Tony Horton.
Tony Horton's an amazing man.
Tony Horton, those are the 2 pieces of advice he gave to us at my first event with him.
You know, we were just added to this group by Carl Deichler.
I know.
God,
I'm like,
yeah.
how did I end up in here?
And I'm scared. I actually text Saudi. I'm like, I'm so scared right now because he's asking us to, like, first of all, we have to answer what's your limiting belief. Then he wants to know how many Success Club points do you average a month? And then, like, what's holding your team back? And I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm looking through this and he's actually answering everyone one by one.
Yeah, he has a motive, and it's like almost as it's sometimes those things that we don't want to think about and we don't want to face. You know, I've procrastinated it all day.
Oh my God. Well, I just noticed it a little while ago when I was talking to, I'm like, Saudi, what's this group? How did I end up in here? What am I doing in here? Oh my goodness. Carl Deichler.
Yeah, and I'm looking and there's like about 140 coaches in there. Yeah. And he's writing back to everybody.
Yeah.
And my point in saying this is that, like, we experience fear at every level, Whoa. But we have a leader that's watching us so closely and is so dedicated to this mission that I feel like what he wants us to do in this group is basically what this call is about. Like, Absolutely. What are your fears? Address them. What are you going to do about them?
I agree.
So what are we going to do about this? Where are we going from here to Summit?
Well, first of all, we have to set big goals.
Yeah.
And we have to be fearless about it, you know. And when I say fearless, I don't mean, you know, to set goals that are going to put you in front of a bus and you're going to get run over and crushed. Like, they have to be obtainable. And Audrey and I and Micki were talking about it. And, you know, I always go back to when I was a baby coach and when I signed up, it was no rocket science for me that I needed to help 8 people. And if you really want to streamline it, like 12 people, because, you know, you need to help 2 of your coaches get 2 people. And, you know, I think that is the most simplest way of going about, you know, growing your business and setting big goals, because I mean, everything revolves around. So we're here to help people, right? We're here to help ourselves. I can't help myself unless I have a community, right? So we need to all have our community, our team, our coaches that are going to help us be accountable, right? When it comes to our health and fitness and with our business. And what more, I think it's the most enriching way to do it, because out of those 12 people, at least 2 or 3 are going to duplicate what you're doing. And that's very fulfilling. It's what Micki said, you know, she feels successful. So do I. I'm sure Audrey does also. When your coaches are achieving, like, I am happier seeing my coaches achieve the highest levels of success than me achieving it myself. And so, I mean, I don't know, Audrey, let's challenge them to something. You know, Micki and I were doing some math and, you know, we have a few things. We can work levels deep. We can start finding those Audreys on our team, like Micki and I did, who are out there, and work with them, and also control the controllable, right? And how do you control the controllable? How do you control the controllable, Micki, Audrey? What can we all do ourselves to take our business to another level right now, today?
Well, the first things first, guys, is, I know this sounds cliche and you've heard it before. It's the 4 vital behaviors. Yeah. That's the foundation, guys. Too many people are trying to do this and dodge the 4 vital behaviors. You keep dodging the 4 vital behaviors, you're dodging your future. Because it was the 4. Now, granted, when we all first started, including Audrey, there were only 3. You know, now there's 4. But that's what grew the business. It was consistently doing the vital behaviors. And they're called vital for a reason, you know? It wasn't until my mother ended up in the emergency room when I heard the doctor say, we gotta check the vitals. And it was like, I had this aha moment, and I actually went live. Well, not live. We didn't have live back then, but I did a video.
Why do you think some coaches don't do the 4 vital behaviors? Why do you think only some of us take it serious? Is it because they don't believe in this business 100%?
It boils down to limited beliefs. 98% of the population don't believe in themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just the bottom line. Like, right now we've got 79 coaches that are on this call, and only 2% are going to show up. Hands down. 2% of the 80 are going to show up. And
they're going to take our challenge, right? They're going to take our challenge.
Yeah. The other, 80, the other 98% will not.
You know that when I heard that for the first time on one of the calls, I made sure I would never fall in that night. Like, whenever somebody tells me that I'm going to fall into a certain category, I challenge myself not to fall into that category. I don't know about you guys, but that's just the way I've been. And one of the things I'll always remember, so I had to learn this business. Well, Micki and I both, we had to learn this business by getting on the national wake-up calls. And I can probably tell you that everything that I know, I've learned from a national wake-up call. Nobody sat with me and did a training. I've never did any type of a training. Like, I did do a boot camp to Diamond, but it was what I was learning on the national wake-up calls. It wasn't the way it is now. Like, all of you are so spoon-fed that I think that's what's enabling a lot of you to really take this business serious. Like, I don't feel that people see themselves a year from now. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget, our founders that are not around anymore, when they said, be here a year from now. Like, that's all I heard. I used to hear that more than the national wake-up call. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, forget a year from now. I'm going to be here 5 years from now. And here I am 6 years later. And basically what I've done to build this business is that I've plugged into the support systems that we have, that we all have access to, which is what? YouTube, the back office, our regionals, all the training that's provided for us, the success tab with the personal development. And I invest in every personal development book that's recommended to me, whether it pertains to me or not. And, pressing play and drinking Shakeology is my job. I always remember hearing that on a national wake-up call. It is your job to wake up every day, press play, and drink a shake. And on the days that I don't press play, you better believe that I'm doing something else to substitute for not pressing play, whether it's preparing my meals, whether it's going food shopping, whether it's making sure that my nutrition is on point. And I'm constantly sharing my story. It's not rocket science.
I'm glad you said that, because on my Instagram story, I was talking about a book, and then they were like, so you recommend the book, huh? And I was talking about a couple of books, so I didn't know which one she was talking about. And then I realized, listen to my weekend. I started You Are a Money Making Badass. I listened to The Alchemist twice. I read the four agreements, and I started Unshakable by Tony Robbins all in a weekend. All in one weekend.
What do you think that's going to do to your business?
I mean, of course, it's going to help my business, but also it's like the ideas that are going through my head right now that I can share on social media. Like, when people tell me I don't know what to post, what are you feeding your mind with?
Post everything.
We have to be, so it's the 4 vital behaviors, of course, but there has to be a commitment to growth. And I'm sorry if I'm taking this on another level right now, but I was thinking about some diamond coaches that fall from rank. They're not committed to growth.
Yeah. They're not seeing this as a business. Like, this is a real business. It's like, I repeat this over and over again. Make pretend that you went to the bank and you took out a loan for $100,000 and that you have to pay the bank $10,000 every single month. If you do that, you're going to work the business. Every person in this planet that has ever gone to the bank with a portfolio, like, I had my cousin come over to my house yesterday who is putting together this portfolio, and I'm looking at him like he has 10 heads. I'm like, just be a coach. Just be a fucking coach. Like, just be a coach. You don't need to do that. You know, he's here sitting in front of these investors who are going to laugh in his face when he puts together this thing. When we have this business that we pay $39 for and we don't take it serious, you know? You can reach so many levels of success through this business, but you have to believe in it. You have to believe that you're going to be here not 1 year from now, but 5 years from now. You have to expand your network. You have to create systems, and you have to become independent of your coach and have a success partner. Look at the relationship that Audrey, Micki, and I have. So, you know, Audrey has her success partner in Florida, but when we get together, like Micki and I were talking about this today, and when we get together, it's different than when we get together with somebody on our team. When we get together, we're strategizing. We're coming up with events. We're coming up with ideas. We're like, we have this crazy, weird hustler mentality that it's just like our mind is constantly working totally different than what normal people think of. And so when Micki shared about creating those 200 people around you that are going to build you up, like that's everything. So you should already start looking for that, whether it's within your team or not. Because honestly, like, I have my days when I feel low, and I'll talk to Micki, or I'll talk to Audrey or Maylee or any of my leaders, and they lift me up and they make me want more, and they make my mind like thrive. And so you got to create that partnership within the team that's going to help you. And honestly, like just training your business like a business. So Audrey and Micki and I have a challenge for you guys, right? So I'll let Audrey share because it was her idea, and I loved her idea. And then Micki has a strategy behind it. So Micki has a strategy behind it to kind of give you guys a bigger perspective on what it is that we're challenging you all to do tonight.
No, go ahead. You're better at numbers than me.
Me?
But the prize is my idea.
The prize.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. So you'll share the prize.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's okay. Let me just bring up the numbers that I posted in here.
Numbers and me, we're not there.
No, I guess this is the old banker in me.
I'm fascinated by it because it puts my mind at ease, and it helps me not work my business blindly. Like, I think that a lot of times you can get caught up in how you feel about this business because it feels so good at times that you kind of forget where your focus needs to be.
Okay. So first of all, I have to say that when I first did this number, this is before I found out that I was in Carl's private group.
Yeah.
Like, I even say that and my heart's like pounding.
You're going to have to give me numbers to tell Carl.
What's that?
You're going to have to help me with my post to Carl.
I'm embarrassed to tell him that I only hit Success Club 10. So we have to tell him that we hit success, what we hit or what our average is.
He wants to know, why aren't we hitting 20 to 30 Success Club points?
Oh, fuck. Okay.
You see, guys, you know, so many coaches.
Darlene's laughing at me. Darlene, I'm going to switch places with you and you can go answer it for me.
But anyhow, so this is a number that I have between now and the end of the year. Okay. So right now we're at, excuse me 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. You know what she said to me? She goes, "Sí, me alegro." Sorry. You guys have kids. I have Mama Dukes. All right. So I mentioned earlier the 98%, the 98.2% rule. 98% of coaches, 98% of people don't work towards their goal because of limited beliefs. And they buy into that, they drink that BS cup of coffee every single morning and they believe it. 2% are hustlers and they're gonna go after their dreams. And so when I take a look at 10,000 coaches in Team Eagle, 2% of that is 200, okay? So I'm speaking to the 200 right now.
Well, we're gonna have to share this call on the team page.
Yeah, these 200 coaches commit to bringing in a minimum of 5 coaches a month. 5 coaches a month. That means that we will be adding to our network 1,000 coaches a month. By the end of the year, we would have added 8,000 coaches. And that's minimum, guys. That's just at 5 per. We will end the year at 18,000.
And so, guys, this is where that statistic, or whatever you want to call it, that corporate labeled New York City as, this is where it comes in. Okay, these numbers can absolutely happen, but there's something about New York that people are just very complacent. They're very accustomed to their 9 to 5. They're not reading the books that Audrey and Micki and I are recommending, and so they're not opening up their minds to the possibilities of becoming successful, and so they're not even taking us up on this. And you know, if the 77 that are left on this call were to actually open up your hearts and your minds to this challenge, to sign up 5 coaches, you not only will change your life, but you will be part of something big. We want to make history. So we've only piqued corporate's interest, and we want more. We want Carl to bring that freaking jet to New York City on the regular. We want to be on that. Like, my dream is to be on that jet in the hood, on top of the freaking in the Flushing Park somewhere, with a bunch of people having an outdoor event talking about how we changed the hood. Like, when Carl went up on stage, I don't know how I was able to stay in my chair when he talked about all those people in those houses who were sitting on their couch, and we were just sitting there doing nothing. You know, like, Carl left New York so hungry, and he left me hungry, like, as fuck. I am so eager to continue building New York. Like, I feel like we've been playing small. Like, Audrey, you don't know what you did with this call. Like, when you kept saying 10,000, I'm like, 10,000. Like, that's nothing. That is nothing. There's so many people that we can be reaching. There's so many things that we can be doing, you know? And what we're doing on our part, right, behind the scenes, is like, we're bringing back fit clubs every freaking month, and we need your help. So if you know of a place, you got to tell us.
Yes, which by the way.
Yeah, tell them about.
I need to plug this in, guys.
Yeah.
You may or may not know that I was blessed with the opportunity to be in the UV2 video with Leandro. And Leandro's just an amazing human being. Most of us all know him as Leandro the trainer, but his heart is in this program right now. He is more filled with emotions in this program than he was with Brazil Butt Lift, because this program is a program as low. It is a low impact. It is a low impact program, but it's going to impact so many lives. And so we're looking to do an event to kick off UV2 on Saturday, May 20th. And
so let's put that in our calendars.
Yes, I've messaged Leandro, and he said that he will drop whatever clients he has that day to attend our event and lead a workout. So unfortunately, Terrace in the Park is completely booked where we normally have our events. We've got 17 events happening on May 20th. So I know that Melissa, we couldn't do this without Melissa, I swear. Melissa's been hustling and looking for a location in the city. I know she found one, and I believe it holds 200 people. So we'll be finalizing this before the week is over, for sure. Leandro's just waiting on me to tell him, this is the location, this is the time, we need you there.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing. Leandro, first of all, has always had a great relationship with Micki, even before this group. And he is in our backyard, guys. He lives in the Lower East Side. He's always put himself available for us. He has a huge heart. He's a good man. He has a relationship with a lot of Eagles, by the way, because of other test groups. And so let's take advantage of this opportunity and let's build this thing together. So first challenge, 5 coaches, guys. Like Micki has been sharing that UV2 is a great platform to get you your 5 coaches, because now you have a bigger market with the beginners program. All access is $160, guys. Come on, like this is so easy, really. I mean, when I look at your walls, I'm like, there it is. They're just not sharing it. They're just not sharing it. And it needs to stop. Like, get over yourselves already. Get the book, get over your damn self. And just start posting what this opportunity has done for your life, what your team has done for you, what losing a few pounds has done for you, what drinking this shake is doing for you. Stop holding that stuff in and stop keeping it a secret, because you're just doing a disjustice to the world and
yeah,
to
which it's, I do have to, again, I got to throw this point in there, because in the beginning of the year, guys, you may or may have not been on that Team Eagle call, but I called, the topic was facing your fears, as a matter of fact. And I faced my biggest fear, and I put myself out there. And as one of your leaders, I would never ask anyone to do something that I'm not willing to do. So I had to do the ugly thing, the most embarrassing thing for me. And it was to share, I had to be raw about what had happened to my fitness. I had to be completely raw about it. And I did. And I shared it with you guys first. And I did it on purpose because I wanted to lead you guys. I wanted you to see that, oh my goodness, here's Micki, founder of this team and successful. And oh my goodness, like, she's gained weight. What happened? And so I put myself out there. Because in this business, guys, you have to be transparent.
We're human. We're human. We're not robots.
And so that's what I did. And I've been sharing since January. I put that ugly freaking, bye Felicia picture, all of me on there. And every day I shared my workout. Every day I showed up on social media. And just like this call is called the compound effect, well, because of the compound effect, since the beginning of the year, I'm almost down 30 pounds.
Wow.
The compound effect, people. And you know what I did to my ego? And you need to do to your ego? You need to put that sucker in your back pocket. You need to swallow it, because it's your ego that's not allowing you to share. You got to put it in the back pocket. You've got to transform. If you're struggling, and let me tell you, can I keep it real? I saw many coaches within this team, outside of this team, in Punta Cana, and a bunch of coaches needed transformation. And a lot of those coaches that I saw that needed transformation, you're stuck in your business.
Yep.
You're stuck. I got tired of sharing Tuesday transformations and Throwback Thursday and showing other coaches transformations. I need to sell myself. I don't need to sell Saudi. I don't need to sell Audrey. I need to sell Micki Fernandez.
Absolutely.
That's my brand. So if you're feeling stuck, I want you to take a look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I being honest?
And we always have room to grow. Always, always, always.
Absolutely.
And, they have all these new trainings coming out. I think there was a call on it, how to rock your challenge group. You want to know how you rock your challenge group? Become a challenger. Because that's when Micki, started her transformation, and she started in UV2, and we really started like going in on our nutrition. I became a challenger again, and it has completely transformed my business. I have this excitement about my challenge group, and honestly, those are like my future rock stars. Like, those are I already label them as like, that's going to be my second and third business center superstar diamond coaches, and that's how you have to look at this. You have to look at it. You know what? I'm going to change myself. I'm going to become a challenger. I'm going to share my journey. I'm going to help other people. And it's a freaking win-win. Like, That's the key to this thing. It's those coaches who want to skip that part. It's those coaches who don't want to humble themselves and post their weight in their challenge group. Like, why are you asking? Like I said that in the call, Micki. Remember, I'm like, how dare you ask your challengers to post their weight if you're not posting your weight? You know, it's not fair to them. You're in the trenches with them.
I want to recommend another piece of PD, and it's on Audible, so it's great. So I've read probably like 3 times already, listened to The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, because I'm listening to Saudi, I'm listening to Micki, and I know the coaches on my team, and I know for a fact that the 3 of us, the 2%ers, don't have anything different than anybody else on this team. The only difference is the execution, because you guys have great ideas, and I'm talking to the people that are listening. You guys have great ideas. Your problem is that you're not executing.
What is the book again?
The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. So in the book, she goes through the science of the fact that whenever you have an idea, whenever there's something that you want to do, you have 5 seconds, Robbins. You have 5 seconds to actually execute on it before your brain starts coming up with good reasons, excuses as to why you can't do it. So the 5-second rule is that you literally say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you execute. Don't give yourself time to think about it. It's crazy because I've had so many conversations lately with people telling me that they just stay stuck in their head and they don't do the things that they know they should. You know what? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go do it. That's it. And that's what I tell myself. Like, I'm an introvert and no one ever believes I'm an introvert because I make myself go do the things that scare me. And that's why my business is where I am right now, because I go out there and I purposely say yes to the things that I don't want to do. And that's how you grow.
You're a fun introvert.
No one ever believes me. Only Darlene. Darlene sees it when I'm like,
oh, I know. I've seen you.
You that day in the car.
Yeah, I've seen you go 3, 2, 1. I've seen you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop.
I'm done.
I want you to share the other books that you're reading too, because every time you recommend a book to me, it enriches my life. And so you also share. I'm reading the one by Tony Robbins, but you shared some other ones that you read on the weekend.
Well, right now there's You Are a Money-Making Badass, Jen Sincero's follow-up to You Are a Badass. Tony Robbins' Unshakable, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And of course, The 5-Second Rule.
I have homework. Thank you.
And the prize, guys, we're over an hour. The prize. So what's the prize? If you guys, in the month of May, it's May 2nd, you can do it. Sign up 5 coaches. You get an exclusive, like, one-on-one, like, pick our brains. We're going to invite you out if you're local, or we'll do a Zoom call, whatever. But you're going to get an hour of our time where you can ask us whatever you want on your business, and we'll sit with you and help you and talk to you. And if you're in New York, we'll take you out to eat. How many people? Like what? Like the top 5? What do we do?
Let's take everybody out. Sign up 5 coaches. Hang out with us. Fuck it.
Yeah. All right. Let's do that.
We'll go somewhere. Yeah.
Can we eat
karaoke? Yes. Let's do karaoke. Yeah, Ada. Let's do karaoke. I love that. Oh my God, yes. Let's go and have fun. We used to do that all the time, Audrey, and we stopped. Remember, we used to go to the Witches Brew. We used to get together with our leaders, and I love that. And if you're not local, we'll have a whole big party on Zoom. We're good at that also.
Yeah, let's definitely do. I'm sorry, I was reading the comments.
And if you want to really challenge us, if you're like in Florida, I have this itch to go to Florida. Blow that shit out the park in Florida. Get a bunch of your coaches to his Success Club, and we might just.
Well, we're blowing up in Texas.
Let's go. Oh, I would love to go to Texas.
My new diamond coach. Shout out to Mirna Villaseñor, who's on the call right now.
I've been dying to go to Texas.
Let me tell you guys about Mirna. This girl couldn't go. She signed up around the time of Super Saturday. So I'm like, host your own, and she did. She started hosting fit clubs in her house where they got too big and she had to go find a location. That got too big and she had a second location where they do like daily and weekly fit clubs.
Love it. Love it.
and that's how she did it. So I'm actually going to Texas next month.
All right, I'm gonna go find coaches in Texas. If someone wants to move to Texas. Oh my God, this was a fun call. Thank you so much, Audrey, for having us. I love your team.
Thank you so much for being on and for doing it such short notice. I literally just text you guys like 2
It's all right. We made it happen. Just please share it on the team page so that everybody's on board. We need those 200 coaches so we can put New York City on the map and get Carl to come out here over and over and over again. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, girls. Good night.
Good night.